Swords About Books, Ben.
Swords About Books, Nate.
We're finally doing it.
You ready to make some enemies?
The Sanderlanche.
Yep, we're finally tackling Brandon Sanderson. You know if you clicked on this because it's in the title. We're covering Yumi and the Nightmare Painter by Brandon Sanderson. And this time, unfortunately, I am going to talk about the Mormonism.
Oh, God, all right.
I said we didn't have to do it with Stephanie Meyer.
Or with God, what was it? Brian McClellan?
Yeah, that wasn't the problem with Brian McClellan.
Yeah, no, the Mormonism was not the problem.
there was something else going on there.
I re-listened to the end of that episode.
No, there's a couple of reasons I want to mention it. Probably the biggest is because I think either consciously or subconsciously, Brandon Sanderson's magic systems and mythology are inspired by Mormon metaphysics, for lack of a better word. So I think it's worth acknowledging that, like, I think Mormonism is more a part of his stories, not in an evangelical way, not in he's trying to convert you to Mormonism kind of way, but sort of in the way that, like, Tolkien.
Too late.
Too late. You've already joined. Oh no.
I was gonna say I'm gonna move to Utah, but maybe we just don't talk about Utah for.
No, not
week.
today.
Yeah, bad idea.
Yeah.
Bad idea.
So, I think it's more in the way that, like, Tolkien's Catholicism underlies Lord of the Rings. I think it's just like a set of guiding principles that sort of shape the logic and structure of the universe. But also, I think it's more fair to talk about Mormonism in relation to Brandon Sanderson because he does teach at Brigham Young University. He is very active in the church. He's gives them a substantial amount of money. He has a thing in his frequently asked questions on his website about why he believes Mormonism is like the one true faith. So,
okay,
it's a topic. I mean, I think I don't know the Sanderson lore very well. My understanding is he is fairly liberal and would like just
okay.
Well, so Mormons, they're still pretty, like most Christian denominations, still pretty anti-gay, very traditional family values type stuff. And I think Sanderson has moved to the left on those issues. I think he tries to do more.
That it should be decided between a man and several other men and several women in the Supreme Court as God intended.
Look, a man should be able to marry as many men as he wants. A marriage is a sacred bond between a man and one or more men. I don't know. You tell me if this sounds familiar. I'm gonna give you a crash course on some stuff, and I'm sure there are going to be people who disagree with this take, and I'm sure there are different like variations on this. But Mormon theology accepts that there is a God, like a creative force in the universe, and kind of that we're all a piece of that, and we all have like more or less spiritual power. We're either a greater or lesser order of being. And Mormon heaven is essentially you would become like a god yourself, and you would become a creative deity for a planet of your own, perhaps.
That sounds horrific.
And
don't put me to work. I worked for however many years, and I died, and I don't want to work anymore in my eternal afterlife.
Well, also, all of this was revealed to Joseph Smith by the angel Moroni, who was a Native American but also white. That's important.
Yeah, I don't see how, like, obviously.
Because dark skin is an indication of sinfulness.
And then, well, that's why Michael Jackson did the change,
Oh,
right?
God, no. He was a Jehovah's Witness. That's a whole other ball of wax.
Oh, damn. Sorry. My bad. I get him confused sometimes.
Yeah. No,
oh boy.
I'm going to say that's worse. I'm going to say Jehovah's Witnesses are worse.
I think when you're not accepting blood and you just die instead, I mean,
well, yeah, but especially when your kids can't. That's the fun one.
Well, that's the price you paid for getting born into this family.
That's the price you pay for maybe 144,000 of you getting into heaven, maybe. No.
Wait, is there a set number?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
I really wish you hadn't, because, well.
Oh no, it's a power of 12. I don't know where that comes from. Is it like the 12 tribes of Israel? I don't know. So the main thing, I'm going to skip a lot of the South Park dunking on Mormonism stuff. Just suffice it to say, I don't care for the LDS Church more than I don't care for many churches. Though there is a hierarchy, a spectrum, if you will, of how much I don't care for things.
Oh.
Yeah, I think Jehovah's Witnesses are a little further down than Mormons on my I don't care for this institution spectrum. But with Sanderson, I think he's mining the maybe more interesting aspects of their like doctrine, which in my opinion was straight up stolen from elsewhere because Joseph Smith was starting a cult.
What?
But he
got those gold plates twice, Ben.
Yeah. Made by Native Americans, famous goldsmiths.
Yeah.
Do you know the story of why the Angel Moroni is a white Native American?
No, I didn't even know that until you told me like 10 seconds ago.
It's because one of the lost tribes of Israel got on a boat and sailed all the way to North America.
Yeah, how hard could it be?
And
I'm pretty sure the technology for boats existed back then, Ben.
They did have the technology for boats. They did, for sure, have boats.
Checkmate.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the Vikings did it. How hard could it be, right? So.
Exactly.
Where I'm going with this. Sanderson's mythology seems to be a lot of, there's different, I don't know anything about it. So you Sanderson fans, you're going to enjoy this too. Seems to be the vibe I got based on just what I know about like esoteric junk is everything's spirits. Everything's one thing. We all come from God. God is the all-encompassing one. And everything.
Got it. Like Hinduism. Gotcha.
Right? Yeah. So every rock, tree, and creature is some aspect of God given shape, and we're all just sort of individual consciousnesses for the purpose of experiencing ourselves. It's the universe experiencing itself.
Yeah, but reality is a shared delusion, Ben.
Kinda, yeah. That's kind of how it goes. But some people have more of the stuff about them. Like I think a rock is probably fairly low on the amount of like spirit stuff it's got. A person's a bit higher, and then one of these like fancy god people is a lot higher than that. And you got variations amongst people. Like Yumi's got more than Painter. So I kind of
why is his name Painter if he has a name? I don't go around like I'm nurse.
You don't? You don't introduce yourself to people in shadowy alleys as the nurse? Maybe if you had a more masculine profession, like software developer. I followed it. I followed the mythology. I thought it was fine. Actually, I thought the magic system was fine. I was surprised by that. Because the other thing people might need to know, because I bet this is going to be a lot of people's first episode of Words About Books, I don't like hard magic systems. I find them video gamey. And if I wanted to play a video game, I'd play a video game. That's not why I read books. I have been warming up to it. I've been on a bit of a journey guided by a team of hard magic fans in the Discord who have been sending me only the things they think I'll like to take a look at. And so far, that strategy is working. I didn't hate this.
Yeah, it was a solid piece of art, Ben.
Though I put off reading Brandon Sanderson for a couple of reasons. One, too long. Most of his books are just too long.
That's to prep you for the Sanderlanche, dude. There wasn't even all that much magic in this.
No, which was nice, which is why I think they recommended this to me. I don't care for like the LDS stuff, and I'll be honest, I was really skeptical that a guy who writes like 4 massive books a year could be writing 4 massive good books a year.
Yeah,
I
was very skeptical.
I
And then when you started talking about how, one of the characters is kind of just doing paint by numbers and isn't really creating art, he's just manufacturing stuff. I was like, oh my god, is he talking about himself? I don't think he was.
No.
I don't think this book was like a Kevin J. Anderson where it was just like factory produced.
No.
Or a James Patterson.
I agree with you. I was surprised and not surprised. To give you an upfront thing, Sanderson fans who are listening for the first time, if you made it through the Mormon stuff, to give you a brief preview of where I will ultimately wind up. Intrigued by the ideas. I think the story is good, but I do think the way it's told reflects the speed at which it's produced. I do think this would have benefited from a second and perhaps third draft. I'm sure he did do a second draft,
Yes.
but I mean another draft after what I got, and then maybe even one after that. Because there's a lot of stuff that it seems like came out in like beta readers gave feedback that they don't understand the magic, which I think is incorrect. I think the magic's perfectly
very
understandable.
Easy to, yeah.
Yeah. But so then he has to add an info dump at the end. I think another draft, you could have like layered that through a little better.
Well, he also adds some info dump throughout, where the fucking narrator just comes in and just is like, hold on, let me tell you about what's going on. It's like, no, I can figure out that these people are kind of miserable at the start of the book. He doesn't really think he's some sort of hotshot, awesome Batman type who prowls the streets for justice. He's lonely. I got it, actually, without you needing to just spoon feed it to
the
me.
Exposition feels very patched in.
Yeah.
It does feel like he takes feedback, which is good. That's a big hurdle for a lot of authors. But it feels like he takes that feedback and really, to properly integrate it, you need to do a rewrite, which is why a lot of authors don't like taking that feedback. Sanderson doesn't care. He'll just patch it. Which I I've been debating how hard to be on that because, to be fair, it works. I mean, it's not like it's a complete, like we've talked a lot about story collapse where the stuff adds up to the point where you no longer trust the author and you don't want to read their book anymore. It doesn't go that far, for me at least. It
No,
the
I wouldn't
patch
say it goes
the
that far.
patch holds, but I think it's a little um sloppy. I don't know. I think that he would rather tell you all of his ideas than take the time to write prose that's really going to stick with you. He doesn't care if you remember the words he used.
Uh, I agree to some extent, but there's definitely some stuff in there that feels like it's just there for you to quote it and to highlight in your
Oh,
Amazon
there is a little
Kindle,
bit of
and
quote baiting. Yeah.
yeah.
There's a lot.
Oh,
Well,
that's
that's a
that's
thing I
that's
don't
what that
like.
is. Quote baiting.
That's what I
Okay.
call it. That's a thing I don't like, but I think that's even lazy too because I think he knows he needs those quotable moments. Because I think he knows people like to quote his stuff, and I think having written as many books as he has, and having as many fans as he does, and having whole conventions dedicated to his stuff, he knows the kind of crap they're going to quote. So he makes sure to every time there's like a point, he draws a line under it. Except for one that I'm going to mention, where he actually, I think, is afraid of the controversy a little bit. So he lets the point just kind of sit there and be subtle. He doesn't underline it too much, but I still found it to be written at about an eighth grade level. Felt like it was written very quickly. Felt like it went back and patched in a lot of material. So not super impressed with that, but story's still okay. So if you're a Sanderson fan and you think you can endure another hour of this tone, then keep listening. If not, shut it off. Are you ready to begin? Yumi and the Nightmare Painter.
Yeah. Let's begin, Ben. All right. So you've got two people on two different worlds, Ben.
Yes.
You've got Yumi and
Kagome.
you've got the Nightmare Painter. That I got some strong Inuyasha vibes a lot. As we went along. Yeah.
So every good Mormon has to go on mission. And Brandon Sanderson did his mission work in South Korea. And that's where Yumi's stuff comes from. And he also, apparently, at some point in his life, played Final Fantasy VII. And that's where Painter comes from.
Yeah, there's Yumi, there's Nightmare Painter, and they're on different worlds, Ben. Yumi begins each day by having by getting up out of bed and then having two women come in, dress her, do her hair, tie everything together, then have a third woman come in and chastise her for uh, existing, do better. Then they go to a sacred ritual bath where they have like 12 different soaps, and you got to do it for a specific amount of time, and then you got to meditate, and then when you're done meditating, you got to go and you got to stack a bunch of rocks, just a shitload of rocks, so many goddamn rocks, you are not going to believe how many rocks you're going to stack. And then if you stack them super well, a bunch of little spirits will come out of the earth, and they'll become your toaster and your light bulb. And hey, who here supplicant, what do you need? You You need a flying machine. That's better than a toaster, I guess. Yeah, the spirit will be a flying machine
Nobody
for
needs a
you.
toaster. The ground is like 100 degrees.
Yeah, I know. I was being facetious, man. Yeah, the ground is really fucking hot. As it turns out, we will find out because of these very spirits that just kind of live inside the planet's core. Also, water comes from the ground, not from the sky. And no one ever decided to use that as like an energy source. Because we got all these rock stacking people. Except we don't have enough rock stacking people, Ben. We don't ever have enough rock stacking people for all the things that we need, because literally the only way we get light bulbs or like anything is through spirits. But that's where Yumi, one of how many? 12, 13,
12, yeah.
14? 12.
I thought it was 12.
12 Yoko Hijo, Ben.
Yeah. I don't know why you're. That's not a hard thing to say. So he did say
So,
he did say he was inspired. He doesn't read much manga, and I believe him. Um, but
but
he
he did see one of those hot tub scenes or hot spring scenes from Inuyasha or something where they
from
keep accidentally
any
looking at
of
each
them,
other.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Um,
whoops. Oh shit. I didn't mean to look at your nudity, and I may have looked a little too long. But thankfully, the narrator is there to say that he's just awkward, not a creep. Thank you. I understand.
I he said he works with a guy who is really into manga and like became a translator and really into the whole like Japanese scene. And one of the manga that this guy got him into, if I don't know if you remember this one, Hikaru no Go.
But no.
It's the one where they play Go.
Yeah, no, I was watching Dragon Ball Z.
It's not a bad one.
Yeah, but I mean, when you compare it to an alien that blows up planets for fun, Ben, I mean, like, you're not going to beat that.
There's a lot. There's kind of like a genre in manga of manga that dive deep into some particular craft. Like I think there's the one that comes to mind right now is because it's what I'm reading right now is Akane Banashi, um, where it's about rakugo, which is a Japanese folk story art. I think most people would find it probably boring, and it's very Japanese. It's one of those things that's kind of hard to translate across
Oh, I
cultures.
thought you were going to say hard Japanese.
No, it most of the stories are from the Edo period. You need to know a lot of cultural references. You need to understand
Oh, I'm sorry.
why things that are funny are funny. So the point is, the manga is very good. It's very good at making Rakugo make sense to an audience who only has the most basic understanding of Japanese culture. And in fact, one of the things they do in Akane Banashi, like one of her training things, is they have her go to France as a cultural exchange and do Rakugo with subtitles. And she has to try to like get a crowd into it when they don't really understand what she's saying. Like they can see it, but her inflection and everything, it's not doing what it normally would. And to convey that in a manga is super hard. And so there's a lot of like art in like bringing these stories of like
Art.
craft and
Art.
yeah, there's a
Art is, it's decided between us, Ben.
yeah, I know, and I'm gonna
The
get to this.
artiste
I'm gonna get to
and
this.
the arted, arties.
I would say the the artist and like the consumer. I don't know.
The audience,
Yeah, the
perhaps.
audience. But
I like mine better though.
there's a thing that goes on in this, like almost like he anticipates it. That you might think me describing stacking rocks is boring, You might think the very notion of stacking rocks to be
I didn't
not real
until
art.
the narrator came in and was like, "But this is art,"
But we decide what is
and
art. And my thing was with this is like, look, I didn't blame the people who have stacked rocks for thousands of years. I'm sure there's a great way to explain this. I don't know if we got there. I There was a lot of rock stacking. It wasn't nearly as relevant as I thought it was going to be for the amount of time we spent doing it. But we got there, I guess. It's one of those things where like, yeah, this mostly works. Okay. It's a little, you didn't need to tell me I was dumb for not liking rock stacking. I just didn't like, there's a difference between not liking rock stacking and not thinking rock stacking's art and just not wanting a guy to describe rock stacking to you. Like if I described painting to you, he also does that. If I described
yeah,
editing
he
a
used a
podcast
broad
to you,
stroke, and then he did a little thing where first he did the quick and easy one, but it's harder than it looks, Ben.
it is most art is. I get it.
Yeah, this podcast is harder than it looks, guys.
Believe it or not, it is. I know you're probably wondering how, but like you should see my audition setup now. Yeah, I don't know. When do we want to talk about Hoyd? Because I feel like we're
We can talk about. Well, let's introduce the Nightmare Painter, Ben.
let's introduce the Nightmare Painter. So we got Rumi. She's a shrine maiden basically that stacks rocks. And stacking
Yeah.
rocks is the way she communes with the spirits. The spirits really like a good stack of rocks.
Meanwhile, we go to another planet where the spirits are assholes instead, Ben.
Not all of them.
And this is most of them. They're nightmares, Ben. They feed upon your nightmare fears, and then they get you if they stabilize too much. And that is where the painters come in, Ben. Because using the power of a different kind of art, painting, you can turn the nightmares into something else through the power of your mind. They'll find that out later. It's not just because you paint them, you imagine them as something less of a murderous rage monster. And that's how you defend the city. And the sky is covered in black. You can't see out anywhere, Ben. There's just a lone star shining off in the distance. And the city is safe by Heon lines, which are the magenta and azure
Did
lines
you
of the
listen to
book. It's
this?
stylistic. No.
Did you listen to the audiobook?
No, I read it.
Did you really?
I tanked this book.
Nice, because I called them High-on lines, and I was wondering if it was High-on or Heon.
I called him Heon because I thought neon, and I was like with an H and also an I. But Hyon, maybe that makes sense.
If you were reading it Japanese style, it would be Heon.
As I often do.
But if you're reading it in English, I think it would be High-on.
So I'm right, is what you're saying.
I have no idea. But he lives in a neon cyberpunk Final Fantasy future, and she lives
where
in
the world, it's like a post-apocalypse because something horrible happened centuries ago, and nightmares started falling from the sky, slaughtering everyone. And now there is no sunlight, and we're in this neon. We're going to the ramen shop world, Ben. And he, by the way, is a champion of justice. He is Batman. He stalks the night, a lone warrior against the forces of nightmares, and that's how he really sees himself. I can't read subtext. Oh wait, hold on. No, actually he's lonely. Sorry, the narrator just told me he was lonely. I kind of thought he was lonely, but I'm glad the narrator was there to just to spoon feed it to me, to derail the narrative and just feed me my mashed up carrots and peas. Baby milk.
Okay. Um,
Say, you want to talk about this narrator, Ben?
yeah, I'm looking through my notes because there is a point where I started just writing "shut up."
I did the
Um,
same thing, actually.
but here's an interesting one where it said he wasn't important, interesting, or even personable. He was just one of likely thousands of unremarkable boys without the courage to do anything notable, and worse, without the skill to go underappreciated. It was an unfair assessment of himself, but he thought it anyway, and found it difficult to stomach. You see, there's a lot of. We could cut most of this because it kind of just wobbles back and forth. But he
You want to
thought
talk about the highly and the lowly
we'll
speech,
talk about
Ben?
that. He thought it anyway difficult to stomach, difficult enough that he wanted to retreat toward his easy lies of self imposed solitude and noble sacrifice. But a part of him was beginning to
Oh,
find those attitudes silly, cringeworthy. And I wrote, fuck you,
agreed.
because I don't like being told what's cringeworthy. Let me read it and I'll decide if it's cringeworthy. It was.
Yeah, yeah. I think I got here on page 92. But you were once young and nervous too. We all were. There's nothing wrong with being a tad awkward. This is about them in the bathhouse, I think. And I just wrote, "Shut up, shut up, shut up."
I have she had to be reminded even by her undergarments of what she was, and I just wrote Mormon. Do you know about their special underwear?
I think you've mentioned it before,
Yeah,
actually.
they got special. Brandon Sanderson, I think, wears special underwear.
How?
There's another thing I want to mention too that it trips me up in how critical I want to be of the book. He wrote it for his wife. So my understanding is that this was initially a private thing between him and his wife. And she said, yeah, no, you should definitely release this. I don't care if you release this. I know it was personal to me, but like I think your fans would like it. And so I don't know.
And now that it's released, I get to decide what is and isn't art.
Well, there's this little bit of it like is if he's writing specifically to his wife, I could see some of these things as like how the two of them communicate. Like
Like
calling
just blatantly, like there's no
well
subtext.
no,
Is
like
that
for
what you're
example,
saying?
Brandon Sanderson is like 10 years older than me, 20 years older than me. He what how old's Brandon Sanderson? You like to Google shit.
49 years old.
Okay, he's older than me. He's older than me by a good bit. And I don't believe cringeworthy is a word he uses in his, daily lexicon. I don't know why he chose to use that word right there, but I could believe maybe it's like something he and his wife learned together or at the same time. Like maybe that word means something to them that it doesn't mean to me. And so I find it annoying, but she'd find it cute. And
But
it
I'm
was
the
for
audience now. It's for me now.
so well, I don't know. There's a lot of little things like that where I think I don't want to be too hard on it because he wasn't writing for me. He was
No, he
writing for her.
was.
But then there's
Yeah.
the stuff like the
But
info
now he
dumps.
released it. Now it's for everyone, Ben.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
That's art. That's art, Ben.
Well, I do think intent matters.
Here on the Words About Books podcast, intent never matters.
The author's dead.
The author dies as soon as we pry the manuscript from his cold, dead hands.
Let's talk about high and low and Hoyd. I
It's
promise
bad.
there are things I like about this book, by the way. We're going to get to them.
Yeah, we're getting bad stuff out of the way.
Yeah.
High and low language is bad.
Yeah.
It's just bad. It's a way. Again, I kept wrestling with like lazy, and I'm like, I don't want to call him lazy because he's grinding out books, and
No,
if they're of this quality, I couldn't call him lazy,
no,
right?
this isn't a
But
James Patterson situation. This isn't a Stephen King situation or a Kevin J. Anderson. This is a guy who's writing stuff he cares about and writing a lot of it. So he's not lazy.
yeah, no, but it was something else, and the highly and lowly is part of that because the narrator is like, hey, in their language, they have both high and low speech, and I'll just kind of tell you when they do that. So sometimes they'll say something like no lowly way, which that's just like censorship, like no fucking way. Sometimes it will just be like they'll just throw in a tag like but the thing is you don't need the tag of like highly. If she's bowing to him or if she's calling Leon Leonimi and there's like an honorific at the end of their name, you don't need the highly tag there. I know that she is saying it with irreverence. Just like if she spat a word at someone, I get that it's lowly, right? I can I can I can discern from the way you write it and the way the characters say the words or do actions with their words whether or not they are being low or high. I don't need narrator Hoyd over here telling me, oh, that was high speech. Oh, that
Well,
was low speech.
I feel like, and this is another one where I don't think the high and low worked, and I was a little confused as to how it even got in, because apparently he knows somebody who translates Japanese text, and Japanese has a variety of ways of speaking depending on the situation you're in, depending on whether you're the senior or the junior, whether you're talking to your parents or someone else's parents. There's all kinds of things that are difficult to translate, especially if the scene revolves around some subtle wordplay with the polite tenses. But
Siblings, she said, lowly. My note just said, you could easily just make this about tone of voice and I'd get it.
yeah, it's a challenge to translate Japanese into English or Korean into English for these reasons. But people do it
But
all
it's
the
not a
time.
challenge to translate English into English.
Yeah, that's my thing. Is so like you could say that they have polite tenses, but English is not absent formality. Like you could tell by the way I just said absent formality, that's not a casual way of speaking.
Yeah, if you go into a job interview, good morning, Mr. Blank. I'm here to interview for the job. Thank you for taking time out of your busy day, blah, blah, blah.
Well,
You don't go like, sup, dude?
yeah,
Hey,
I was gonna say
here for that job.
even simply like I open meetings all the time with good morning. I never say that to anyone I'm actually talking to.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would say, hey, I adopt an entirely different tone. I pitch my voice slightly higher. I enunciate my words more carefully. There's a lot of little things like that, and yeah, you don't. In English, it would be as simple as like one of the common tricks is when somebody's using a formal honorific in a foreign language is just to have them say Mr. So and so in English, because we hardly ever use our honorifics as it is. Most people call each other by first name, but if you wanted to be more formal, you could say Mr. So and so. And so there would be ways to translate that, even if you were translating from another language. So it just seemed like a thing he was adding for flavor, because Yumi and what's his actual name? Nikaro?
Nicaro.
Yumi and Nikaro have their languages have these tenses, but like it doesn't add anything to the story at all. He's just acknowledging that like Asian languages have a polite tense, which a lot of languages do.
I would imagine most languages, if not all. I don't know if I go as far as say all, but I would say the vast majority probably have some polite tenses for like your even for like nomadic tribes, like your elder or whatever, your chief.
I think it was a David Mitchell joke that he was getting sick of you being used for both the singular and the plural, and he wanted to bring thou back.
No, you got you and use. Use guys.
Over here, it's yins.
Yins, god damn
Yins
it.
guys. That's what it should have been. Yumi, she's from Pittsburgh. Nikaro, he's from Philadelphia. They can't even understand each other.
And they have to meet in between.
And she has to order a cheesesteak in his world. And he...
Oh, God.
he has to navigate a Permane Brothers sandwich in her world. And it's kind of like the book then, because unfortunately the cheesesteak is objectively better.
Ooh. Ooh.
Don't look at me. Shy, Permane sandwiches suck.
I don't know. I didn't hear what you said.
Oh, okay.
What is a Permane sandwich? Is this the po' boy?
No, Permane sandwiches, they put the coleslaw and the French fries on the sandwich. I'm telling him.
Oh, yeah, 0 out of 10, dude. Fries are a side for a reason. Coleslaw is a side for a reason. The cheesesteak is objectively better.
The cheesesteak, I agree. If you're from Pittsburgh and you're a big Permane's fan, I've been to both Permane's locations in Pittsburgh, and they're both underwhelming.
And I went to a Pakistani place that I was told to not say reminded me of Indian food within earshot of the owner.
Yes.
It tasted the same as
Was that with
Indian
me?
food. Yes, that was with you.
I know. I was going to say, because I know which restaurant. I was like, I know a restaurant like that. Yeah, no, he doesn't like that. He says they're very different.
Yeah, you could have fooled me, and in fact you did. You could have told me you're an Indian restaurant. I would have believed you.
Well, the problem is there's an Indian restaurant across the street, and he doesn't like that.
Yeah, well, that's...
I will say, they
were once one restaurant, and then the British left, and then they divided along. All right.
So Hoyd.
So going back to Painter
Hoyd.
or Hoyd. Okay.
The book is narrated by a guy.
He says that he's bored.
Yeah.
Not a good look. Not a good look. He's like, I'm a bored storyteller. This is a boring story. And then at the end, he gets out of his like stasis and he's like, I'm getting the fuck off of this shitty planet full of losers. I'm never coming back.
I told you that Hoyd, the best way I can describe Hoyd is as a sentient loot crate, like the now defunct delivery service where they would send you a package of extra crap from the factory floor.
Oh, I wondered what you meant by loot crate. And yeah, okay, the actual company
loot crate. He's like if that came to life and thought Doctor Who with David Tennant was just the funniest, most original shit he'd ever seen in his goddamn life, and then made it his entire personality.
It's bigger on the inside, Ben.
You know, that would have been a funnier joke.
Well, he didn't say, now you're thinking with portals.
No, he didn't. No, Hoyd sucks. This is
Agreed.
this is one where I'll be unapologetic and unmitigated. I understand Hoyd is in every book somehow.
Oh
I don't think he
no.
narrates all of them.
Oh, thank God. Okay, yeah, I don't. He's easily like the worst part of this book.
I would cut every line of the narrator's voice. There's some paragraphs where the narrator speaks directly to the audience all the time, sometimes in parentheses, sometimes in italics. I never know why the punctuation choice there, and I it's always annoying. It's always like he's always telling us exactly what the characters feel. Hoyt is also the one who needs to punctuate every point that's made with the quote bait.
In storytelling, we pretend you can read all kinds of things from a furrowed brow or a fleeting expression, and my note just says, "Shut the fuck up." You can. You can actually read all kinds of things from a furrowed brow. People do it every day. When someone furrows their brow, you start looking at all kinds of things. Why is it different? Are they shocked? Are they sketched out? Are they pissed off? What else is going on? Are they talking? Is their talking different from normal? Furrowed brow means something. You can learn all kinds of things and it's a piece of a puzzle that your brain works at all the time. And that's just me being a neurotypical shill, an ableist shill, Ben. I know it's not the same for everyone. And some people, it's easier for some people than others. I get that. But to be like, I don't know, Hoyd just needs to shut the fuck up. He was already irritating me, and you don't pretend to read things from a furrowed brow. You totally can and do.
Yeah, there's a reason people furrow their brow.
Yeah.
The only purpose it serves is to communicate.
Yeah. Yeah,
There's a reason
exactly.
you have eyebrows.
And it's not just because it would look weird if they weren't there.
It would look weird because people would be looking for them because they're supposed to communicate something.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you know when you raise your eyebrows up, that does communicate things like shock or surprise.
No, there's so much. Hoyd is insufferable. I don't. I've been told he's contentious within the fandom. He really reminds me of a Doctor Who type. My understanding is he travels from world to world. He's one of these high power beings. He also travels with a companion who's
That's
quirky.
great.
God, is
It's
she
great.
quirky?
Does he do anything? Because he traveled to this world and immediately froze for like 4
I don't
years
know
or
what I can
whatever.
say without spoiling because I've been told a million things and they mean nothing to me, but it could be a giant spoiler to somebody who actually reads these. I'll bleep it, I guess.
Fuck off.
I
Fuck
think I
off.
think he and like 16 people. But so Hoyd travels with design, and
Yeah.
design is some sort of
Is super quirky and also hot, Ben.
very lol random. She is
I'm quirky and it is endearing.
she is some sort of machine intelligence who
With a nice
who
ass.
wants to understand human behavior. So she's taken the shape
With her ass.
of a voluptuous diner owner.
Yeah. A voluptuous noodle diner owner with a big ass.
She also has humongous gazongas.
Yeah.
And she notices when people look at him.
She can sense when you're looking at them.
Just like all women can. Did you know that?
Except for Yumi because she's not used to being oogled and ogled.
Well, Yumi's used to wearing some sort of tent. as clothing.
Yeah, her whole body is fucking thick clothing that just fucking why?
Yeah. So we got to talk about, so we've got, oh my God, we're so disorganized.
So Painter, Ben, back to
Yes.
Painter.
Yeah, he paints the
So
nightmares. He makes them go away.
he used to have friends, but he is a champion. He's a lone champion for justice. He doesn't need friends. He doesn't want friends. Friends are for losers.
They get in the way.
They get in the way. The
I'm better on
mission
my own. I
comes
don't need a
first.
partner. Just slows me down.
And
Don't make me care.
he's gonna go home. Oh yeah, Yumi summoned a record number of spirits and then fell unconscious. And one of the spirits said that she needed help. Anyway, Painter, he's gonna go home, but he sees a telltale trace of a nightmare. Now, normally, it's not his shift. You know, I admit he compares painters as like they're really important to society but underpaid, and I was like, oh yeah, like nursing. And
I was
like
gonna say this is how I treat this is a bug found at 4:00. Doesn't exist.
So anyway, Painter is like, oh, there's a nightmare. I could just go home. My shift is over. But no, he goes back, Ben. He's a big damn hero. I would have just gone home and been like, someone will find out. So he finds a nightmare feeding upon a small child's dreams, and this thing actually scratches the child. Nightmares aren't supposed to be able to do that unless they're stable. Holy shit, this thing has eyes. Holy shit, this thing has teeth. This thing is gigantic. Holy shit. Okay, so he sits down. His go-to is to just paint bamboo. And he's gonna paint some bamboo at this, and the thing runs away, and he's like, they're not supposed to be smart enough to run away from this. That's really bad.
Doesn't
I
the
gotta go turn
bamboo
that into
stop
Foreman.
working and he starts painting the face of a woman?
I think that happens at the end of the book.
That does also happen at the
here.
end of the book, but he did actually paint something for this nightmare. It wasn't just bamboo.
I guess, yeah, he does bring up you're not supposed to paint humans because a human can still kill you.
Yeah, you're supposed to paint something that's harmless.
Cuddly and harmless.
Like bamboo.
Like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
You know, they used to use bamboo to torture people because it grows so fast. You can put somebody on top of it and it'll just shoot up right through them. Yeah, think about that the next time you're painting bamboo for your nightmares.
Yeah, fuck you. Anyway, he's looking up at that star. He's like, I need to go and report this to the foreman, but I'm real tired. And he's looking up at that star, and then wham! He gets hit by Yumi, Ben. And now they're in Yumi's world. And she's like, stuff is just passing through her. She's she's like a shade or something, and everyone sees him as her. So Painter is now Yumi, and that's weird. And he has to go through her life, which sucks. And then he gets chastised for eating rice on his own. Lee Yoon is like they have a way of talking.
Do you think that's how you should eat rice? Do you think in your infinite wisdom that it would be better to eat rice like that today?
There you go. Yeah, there you go. Yep. Just a condescending, shitty attitude. And Yumi is like, you are ruining my life. And he's like, don't worry, I got this. I'm gonna go stack some rocks. And he manages to get one rock on the ground. And then the second rock falls. And then he just keeps failing just over and over again to stack one rock on top of a second rock. And he's like, yeah, I thought that went pretty good. What do you think? And Yumi's like dying over there. Because she's seen her entire life just going up before her eyes.
But he lies to her too. He says he's like a noble champion of the spirits.
I'm a noble champion of spirits. That's why the spirits sent me here. and we need to commune with one of them.
They also look at each other naked for a little bit.
Yeah, this is where they go and they do the cleansing in the spring, and they're like, "Whoa, whoa! I didn't mean to. Oh, whoa, whoa!"
And this is where he's like,
And
but he
then
does
he's
turn
like,
around. He could peek, but he's not going to peek because he's a gentleman.
"Yeah," and it's like, "Shut the fuck up, Hoyd. I can decide that for myself.
All you
No
needed to
need
say
to
was he
butt
didn't
in."
peek.
Yeah,
I would have inferred he was a gentleman.
done, easy. Then, after a hard day of failing to stack one rock on top of the other and shaming his entire, well, really, Yumi's entire, everyone, actually. Everyone is shamed by his display of stackmanship. They go to sleep and they wake up back in his world. It's like, oh shit. The foreman is pounding on the door. And he's like, well, you gotta go answer that because you're gonna look like me to him. And they answer the door, and the foreman's like, "Oh, he's got a chick in here. Anyway, where the fuck is he? He hasn't shown up for work." And he's like, "Okay, that's weird that they see you as you, but they see me as you. I'm kind of feeling like I'm not really important to this equation. Anyway, you need to tell him there's a stable nightmare, and that I valiantly fought it off like a champ, and that I have big muscles and I'm swole and I'm super awesome." And obviously, the foreman was like, "Yeah, okay, yeah, I'm definitely gonna look into that.
Yumi rolls
Tell
a
him to show up for
persuasion
work or he's
check. She
fucking fired."
fails.
Well, the DC was like set at 30 when you just kept adding more and more bullshit onto it. You could have just said stable nightmare, but you had to add on all the other shit.
There are in this world artistic ninja warriors, the Anbu of the painters clan, and they are called out when stable nightmares appear. They arrive with brushes the size of halberds, and they paint the nightmares away. We need to call them
Ha!
in.
They
He's
will
like,
definitely be heroes, right? This is a story about how they're awesome and they're going to come save the day. And
I gotta be real. I didn't. I mean, obviously, they weren't going to show up. They're called the Dream Watch. It's like the Night Watch,
the
but it's
Dream
different.
Watch.
But it's also made up of a bunch of weird fuck ups, like the Night's Watch. Except they're rich, unlike the Night's Watch.
Yeah.
That's the other thing too. Like the class distinction was kind of hitting me. It's like
I was more like, wait a minute, how big is this town that there's a pleasure district?
there's several towns.
Yeah, I know.
There's a train.
This one doesn't seem huge though, but
I
there
think
is a train
you
and there's a
don't
rocket
need to have a
ship.
huge town to have a pleasure district.
And Painter is like, yeah, I guess that's true. I've seen the weird pornos in western Kansas that are just suspiciously right at the edge of town, right off the highway.
Yep. And it's always next to
So
like a sign for Jesus and a sign for the next adult store.
that is what you hit the nail on the fucking head. That
Yep.
is 100% accurate.
That's every highway in America. Yeah.
So Painter is like, okay, maybe I'm not a hero or whatever.
Maybe.
Maybe. I think we're aliens. I think that star in the sky, I was looking up at it when I got hit by you. And like, I think I was transported to your world and you were transported to my world. It's crazy, right? It's so crazy and based on so much evidence that it's gotta be true. I was staring at that star when I fell unconscious. Checkmate.
You ever experienced running a D&D campaign where you've accidentally given some detail that was not significant, just totally top of your brain, and the party made that the most important thing in the world. And then
Yes. Every time.
it gets to a
Every
point
time.
where you just straight up say, guys, it's not a thing. And they're like, I don't know, Ben. Let's see how this plays out. It's like, no, I'm in charge. That's what's going on here. Somebody mentioned a star. Somebody mentioned an alien world on that star. We must be. They're not aliens. This goes nowhere. It's a red herring. It's a good red herring.
Yeah, they will eventually arrive on that planet, and they are not humanoids on that planet.
It's a good red herring. It's a nice little twist, and it all still makes sense. I'll give him that.
Yes. So it'll jump back and forth between them. She gets mad at him because he's a liar, and is like, "You have to learn the ways of the stacking because we need to talk to a real spirit. So you're gonna have to become a stacker like me, and you're gonna have to do it my way, which means you have to let these two older women dress you, and then you have to let them undress you, and then bathe you, and feed you, and wipe your mouth, and wipe your ass, and then you have to meditate. You have to learn to meditate. I'm gonna have to teach you how to meditate. I can't believe you don't know how to meditate. That's insane.
I don't think Brandon
Meanwhile,
Sanderson
I'm
knows how
gonna
to
be in
meditate.
your world. What's that?
I was not impressed with the meditation.
Yeah,
It's me being a giant nerd, I know, but the way meditate.
That's what this is about, Ben.
There's a lot of different ways to meditate. None of them are this. But go on.
No, it's just about clearing your mind and shit.
No, it's not.
You just clear your mind, Ben.
You can't force your
Done.
mind. You can't. No, it's a common misconception.
Yeah, you just think of nothing. Well, first you start thinking of something, and then you think of nothing.
Dogen said think the act of not thinking, but that's not what he meant. Dogen says a lot of weird shit.
Domo-kun, yeah.
Dogen is like the legendary Japanese Buddhist philosopher.
So I need to learn how to meditate and ritual bathe and all this shit, and then learn how to stack rocks so that we can summon a spirit. And meanwhile, you are going to be watching TV, eating noodles, and like living the freest life you can because like my life is objectively cooler than yours. I mean, if I had to pick a million times every single time, I'd pick my own life. Like,
here's something that I don't know if this is quite hammered home for somebody who hasn't read the book. Nikaro and Yumi are each about 21, let's say.
19.
19? 19 each. Okay.
19 each.
So they're 19 each. They're both adults in their societies. Nikaro has gone through formal education. Like he went through a kind of college experience. Yumi has been trained from birth to be a priestess. And so Yumi is as sheltered and repressed as one could possibly be, to the point where I don't quite know how she maintains her sanity. And Nikaro, there's something wrong with him. I don't mean that disparagingly necessarily, but he has some kind of like social he's socially stunted. I think that's the word I want.
Yeah.
Yumi acts much younger than her age because she has no life experience outside of stacking rocks for spirits. Nikaro acts much younger than his age. I don't really know why he's stunted the way he is, though others around him also seem to be stunted. And I don't know if
What are you talking about? There's the muscle guy, there's the glue, there's the drama-loving girl, and there's the other one that turns out to be an alien of some kind.
Yeah, everybody's got a quirk.
They've all got one personality trait.
I don't think I would be very far off base here if I were to say that Brandon Sanderson probably did not have the typical social experience when he was this age. I either he's misremembering what it's like to be 19, or he's guessing what it's like to be 19. Either way.
Didn't you hang out in noodle bars with your biceps exposed? And then when your bro showed up, you ripped your shirt off and you're like, "What are you repping now, dude? I've been on the juice. I've been eating those tremboloni sandwiches, brother."
I'm going to spoil this one. So all of these...
I've been increasing my teeth.
So Nicaro...
What's your cycle, bro?
This will come out way at the end of the book, but it's so underwhelming that I just want to tackle it right now. Nicaro has these...
Yes, please do.
Nicaro
you warned me about this, and I was like, there's no way.
He has these 4 friends, and they are... I think there's... whatever. I don't know how many of them there are, but the main one's Akane. She's his crush / best friend / the only girl he ever knew. So Yumi takes the role of the crush eventually because Nicaro has now met 2 girls and he prefers one to the other.
Even though that most of the group is girls, but yeah.
Yeah. And so he was hanging out with these people and they don't talk to him anymore. And he misses them. He obviously got kicked out of the friend group. He did something to them. Something that they have not forgiven him for. To the point where Yumi, her cover story eventually becomes that she is his sister, and this friend group embraces her, and they're like, they have like the nerve to say to his sister, I guess, yeah, he abandoned you, didn't he? He's a real fuck up, isn't he?
He is a piece of shit.
Yeah, look, you can't rely on that guy. He's so, look, I know he's your brother, but
he lies all the time.
You don't know what he's really like. And you're
My
wondering.
God. Yeah. Did you know that there are 4 of us in this friend group, but there used to be 6? What happened to the other 2 people?
Yeah. Painter killed him. He was drunk that night. We told him not to drive. And then we hit a guy. We hit a guy on the road and he had a hook for a hand. And we thought he was dead, and we rolled him off the cliff, but he wasn't dead, Yumi. And he's back now, and he's killing us, Yumi. And we need Nicaro. Where the fuck is he? Sorry, I wrote my own story because I was so bored by Nicaro's. No, what he
so
did.
What did he really do, Ben?
He was a really good artist, a prodigy. And everybody was certain he was going to make it into the Painter Special Forces. And he went to the tryout and he told all these guys, like, I'm going to get in the Painter Special Forces and then you're going to be my crew. I get to pick my own crew if I'm in the Painter Special Forces, the Dream Watch, and I get to do that. I'm going to bring all you guys along with me and you're going to be Special Forces too. We're going to be super cool together. And then he went to the test and he comes back and he's like, done. Got it. Got it. I got to go to my special training now. And then you just hear him sort of sob as the door closes. And it turns out he led them on for months, thinking that...
A year, Ben.
A year, whatever. A year, he led them on. That he had gotten into the Special Forces. They were coming with him. Everybody was set for life. But then it turns out he didn't get in. They find him all this time when he said he was going for special training. He was actually just sitting in the library staring at a wall and like, I got to imagine thinking the dark thoughts.
Yeah, and I was like, why is he just staring at a wall?
Well, it's because there's something wrong with him, right? Like this.
Yeah, there's
this
something
is the thing.
Real wrong.
Well, this is the thing. I don't mean that disparagingly. Like if I found out somebody had been lying to me for a year And what they were doing was going to the library and staring at a wall, obviously in some sort of like depressed fugue state.
I would call them an asshole and say, "You're out of the friend group. You're done, son."
I would be like, "You
Because
hurt
that's
me.
the kind of friend I am, Ben.
You hurt me, and we're going to deal with that. But are you okay?" Because all I lost is a job I didn't apply for. Like,
yeah, no one is ever. No one thinks that he has maybe died because they can't find him for this entire story because Yumi is transforming his body into her body unconsciously. That so they're just like, oh, he let you do his work while he ran away and was off being lazy somewhere, and it's like no one thinks that this really lonely person is just like dead somewhere.
I'm going to tell you, like, just uh, I'm going to tell some stories that I remember from being 19. You want to talk about lifting? I went lifting with a guy. He lived in my dorm, and we went lifting together. And I was doing a lift he had showed me. I wasn't sure about it. He was supposed to be spotting me, and I did the lift, and my shoulder went out of joint,
Oh no.
as it does from time to time.
Is this
And
the first time that it
this is the
popped?
second time.
Oh.
And I got up. I was like, I'm in trouble, and I was like, I don't know what to do. And outside, we found one of the campus police, and I was like, hey man, I need a ride to the hospital. I don't have a car. And he was like, okay, I'll take you. The campus police guy took me to the hospital, and my friend Brent, I know he's not listening to this. He left. He took the fuck off. And
Wow.
when he got back to the dorm, my at the time girlfriend and another dude were in the dorm waiting for me, and they were like, they saw Brent come back, and they're like, "Where's Ben?" He's like, "Oh, he's in the hospital." And they're like, "What? You just sent him to the hospital?" They eventually showed up because nobody was there to take me back from the hospital. Like I didn't know how I was going to get back. So I was abandoned with my shoulder no longer attached to my body in the way it was supposed to be. I think that's worse than what Panner did. I hung out with Brent for 2 more years. And then there was a house party at my building, and I was not there, and the cops raided the place. I came home after a weekend away, and all my roommates were like, "Oh yeah, man, forgot to tell you, cops are looking for you."
Oh, I remember this.
Yeah,
I remember you telling me this as it was happening.
cops are looking for you. Yeah, they think like you did, like you supplied the stuff, and I don't know where they got that idea. And I was like, you don't know that, do you?
Yeah.
And
we definitely didn't point fingers at the one guy who couldn't defend himself
yeah,
because he wasn't here.
and so I went to the police station, and they were like, "Don't you do that again?" I was like, "I didn't do shit. I wasn't even there. I could prove I wasn't there." And I went back. I lived with those guys for another year. When I was 19, I was betrayed and betrayed other people like on a weekly basis. Worse than this. If any of my friends when I was 19 were like, "Ben, we're getting you into the Ninja Special Forces of the Painters Union," I'd be like, "Okay, yeah,
You just
I'll
let me know
hang
when that happens.
I'll hang all my hopes on that. Thank you. Yeah."
Yeah. That's my future now. This
Yeah.
is where we're going.
I don't talk to fucking anybody from that period in my life anymore. No, the point is, I think I had a different experience than Brandon Sanderson did
Yeah,
when I
just a
was
bit.
19.
Yeah. So So yeah, that was the big reveal, as it will get by. I mean, there's a lot of
He lied to them
is
about
there
being a
much else to the
superhero.
story?
And it's like, some of this is on you guys for believing that. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I
You knew
think
this
that
guy for
actually
like
was one
3
of the
months.
arguments.
Like, that's the thing. It's not like they were lifelong friends either. He met them. He was like, dude, I'll get you in. And then he didn't. And it's like, yeah, you guys just learned a valuable life lesson. Anyone you meet who instantly promises you a job is lying to you. I can't even tell you the number of times I have been at a place with somebody I just met, and they'll be like, "Yeah, dude, we should go to Atlantic City. We should just do it." And if I was like, "Yeah, let's do it. Pull the trigger. I'll buy the tickets." That guy's not going to be there. That guy's not
Hmm.
coming to Atlantic City with me. That's not happening. It's just shit
Ben, you
people
want to go to
say.
Atlantic City?
No, it sucks.
I've never actually thought, well, I'll go to Atlantic City, because isn't that like discount Las Vegas but in New Jersey?
Yeah.
Yeah, no thanks.
Ocean City's the better party one, in my opinion.
Want to go to Ocean City, Ben?
I would. I've been there before. It's not bad.
Okay.
It is funny
So,
though, because there is a DUI attorney right across the street from the bail bonds office. Right before the like bar district.
hey, he knows his clientele. Smart man.
Anyway,
You bring the services to the people. You don't wait for them to come to you.
you know who like you that's like foot traffic you know you're gonna need because they don't have a car because their car was taken.
Yeah. Anyway,
anyway, these kids
so
these kids are nerds. I guess that's my thing.
yeah,
They're fucking
yeah,
nerds, every single one of them.
and so Yumi learns what it is, what it means to be a person. She goes to like a little carnival with Painter, and she hangs out with these friends. She gets to pick her own clothes.
She buys clothes with
Meanwhile,
Akane. She goes to ramen.
Painter learns.
What it's like to be psychologically tortured.
Yeah, yeah, he does start pushing back against it, and you find out that there's actually a whole reform movement, and every other Yokomijo, I can't remember what it's called.
Yoko Hijo.
Yokohijo. All right. Uh, every other one of them except for Yumi and maybe one other, uh, they have work hours and they have off hours and they have families, and like they kind of just like work half the days a week, and she yeah, that blows her fucking mind that she's been lied to her entire life. And
You've been lying to me my
then
entire life. Now, see, that's a lie. That's something to be mad about.
nah.
Somebody took you as a baby, and let's be real. Like this is psychological abuse. This is absolutely like torture.
It's an honor, Ben. How dare you?
No, I mean like the romance. Like I don't like either of these characters, and I don't. They're better together than they are separate, I suppose. But that's because separate, they're both like shells of humans.
Yeah, there you go. I liked them well enough after their arc came to a conclusion. I was like, okay, yeah, that's fine.
But I find Yumi
I didn't
annoying.
hate him.
All the stuff you're supposed to find
Yeah,
cute about Yumi, I don't. Like when Yumi is yelling at him to like, no, we're gonna do things my way because you lied to me that first time you met me. So now you're gonna do everything I say wherever we go. And then when they're in his world, she's also acting like that. And I'm like,
yeah,
I would be so jazzed to get out of this deal.
yeah.
Like I would be
Oh, I have to be a priest now. Yeah, no, I'm good.
yeah, like I don't think I'd be slowly falling in love with Yumi. I think I'd be like, I'm not stacking these fucking rocks. I'm not kissing that woman's ass. I'm going to get one of us killed, and then we'll see if it's over.
Yeah, off we go.
But then they're like, they find themselves starting to think like, oh no, what if we do solve this? This could all end. We'll be alone. And like I get why that makes sense for them, but like, oh my god, I was like, oh boy.
I get why that makes sense for Yumi. God, I'll have to go back to my shitty old life. Fuck.
Yeah, I did.
So
The one thing I did like was when Yumi was finally like, she finally like tells all those guys like, you guys ever think you're just fucking lame? Like the friend group, like when they're all mad at Painter, and they're mad at Painter after all these years, and she finds out what he did, and she hears the whole story, and she's like, they're ragging on him and ragging on him, and it's supposed to be his sister, right? So like she should have his back at least a little. And she finally is like, did you guys ever think for a minute you had entirely unrealistic expectations, and that this person was obviously super broken and traumatized by what happened, and he's not okay, and he hasn't been okay ever since, and like you knew him for 3 months and he didn't know you shit anyway? I don't know, it was just, I feel like he needed to kill somebody. Like I feel like they really needed, like, the betrayal had to be fierce. Like he had to.
yeah, the campus police came in and he dove out the window and he he bailed on us. That actually wasn't even that bad.
No, it's like you have to rat on them. Like you have to point the finger or something.
Yeah, he was the guy who called the cops.
Yeah, that'd do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, now some scholars have shown up, Ben. They brought a machine.
More fucking nerds.
They built a machine that can stack rocks so fucking high.
Well, not that high.
Rock stacking machine. Yeah, not that high actually, but we're gonna stack those rocks up. And
Oh, and this is the point. This is the point that Hoyd doesn't undermine, because I don't think Brandon Sanderson wanted to just really put a point on it. Is there's a whole AI art thing going on here with this rock stacking machine.
yeah,
And this is the one where Hoyd doesn't come in with a super quotable moment and go, you know, AI art is actually bullshit for talentless neckbeards. End of sentence. No, he says, I don't know if a machine could ever stack rocks as good as me. It doesn't have the soul. It, you know, I should be a rock stacking machine. I just, and she like waffles, and it's subtle and it's nice, and he doesn't undermine it. And I'm allowed to reach my own conclusion. And I saw the AI art analogy.
so they're trying to figure out like what do we need to do to satisfy the spirits. Maybe we gotta destroy that machine, and or maybe we need to deal with that stable nightmare. Stable nightmare attacks Yumi in uh, Painter's apartment, and the nightmare can also see and feed upon Painter. So they both got to run, Ben, and then there's an action scene, and then Painter manages to paint it away, and it does damage, but it flees. He's like, what the hell was that? Oh, and he also saves the muscles and glue. Um, so they're like, okay, maybe and this is what finally gets the dream watch down. Because this entire time, no one has believed Painter because he's a liar, Ben. He lies all the time. All the time. Just nonstop lying like a lion liar. But now the Dream Watch are going to take care of it. Mission accomplished. Now what do we need to do for you, Yumi? I say we hit that machine with a big old rock. You want to hit it with a rock? But first they do some investigation. And it uses Heon or Hyon, whichever you want to call it. And they're like, "Oh, okay, that's weird. Your people just discovered that, Yumi." Except then they start thinking that like, oh, you're from this planet or something. Turns out there are like 12 walled off cities, Ben, in the shroud, in the blackness beyond, because that one girl in the group of friends is an alien, like 1,000 ants from Rick and Morty. Does anyone care about Rick and Morty anymore? I don't even care
Not in
about
a
Rick and
good way
Morty.
if they care.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I think the
So
Szechuan
yeah,
sauce was kind of it. And then his weird, like, domestic violence stuff.
yeah, it fell apart pretty quickly. Yeah, fans ruined it exactly. Um, so then they find a map in Yumi's world, and they map it. They match it to the map that was drawn for them in Painter's world. And they're like, oh shit, same map. And also, one of those cities is where I'm at. So we're on the same planet, but for some reason, your planet is hot and the sun is bright, and my planet is cold and everything is covered in blackness outside of the town that we're in. And we use Hion or Heon, and you use spirits, and I paint and you stack, and you're a country girl and I'm a city boy. And okay, let's go break that machine.
Well, the machine.
So
So the reason we're kind of like, I actually like the way this episode's coming together because we rambled for about 75% of the runtime.
and then
And
we got to the Sanderlanche.
and I guess that's what they call the Sanderlanche when he just crams it all in at the end. I do like it.
Yeah,
I'm being
it,
comedic.
it it feels almost like slice of life, and then at the end it's like, oh yeah, we gotta do the action novel part.
I wish the book had been, I think it's 4 parts. I wish it had been 3 parts. And I wish this had all been the third part. I think part 3 and part 4 should have been combined, and a lot of, I think a decent chunk of Yumi's stuff should have been reduced. I think Painter spends a little too much time learning how to stack rocks, and then Painter never does any rock stacking. Like
Yeah, he doesn't save the day by stacking rocks.
they really made it seem like they were each going to have to learn each other's art to like fully understand each other, and then they would each have to, like, she'd have to paint a nightmare and he'd have to summon a spirit. But that's not what happens. She stacks rocks, he paints. That's the arrangement.
Well, they do some. They do. He does manage to summon a spirit, and it's like, yeah, break that machine
Well, the reason
before
they
the
got to break the
machine
machine,
scoops it
we
up.
have failed to mention, is the machine sucks in spirits.
Sucks in
It
spirit. It
seems to,
stacks rocks and sucks in spirit.
and it seems to be like there's an implication that it's hurting the spirits, and maybe that's why the spirits were asking for help.
Yeah, except that is a little off at the end when the spirits just leave. But okay, I'll bite. We're gonna go destroy that machine, but we can't. We can't just break it. This would be not great. We would look insane, and like maybe we wouldn't even be able to get that far. It's 1-on-3, so you know, even if these scholars they're weak little spindly scholars, but there's more than one of them. They can just jump on me. So also, they can see Yumi when they put on special glasses. So they're like, all right, here's what we're gonna do: riot. Let's go get the townspeople. The spirits have willed that we need to break this machine. And they go there, and
Mob
the scholars
justice.
are like,
I do like how he's like,
oh
Yumi, I just thought of something. You're some kind of weird religious leader. Let's leverage that.
yeah. I figured that's where it was gonna go. I'm like, can't you just like start a riot? Oh yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah, they have to do what
So
you tell them or they go to hell.
so
Like
the
Joseph
scholars
Smith.
are like, okay, well this is happening now, and they freeze the world. You see, Ben, everyone here is a nightmare, including the scholars, and including Yumi. And they sever the cord between Yumi and Painter, and they send him back to his own city. And that city, and they sent the stable nightmare after him.
The stable nightmare is Lee Yun.
It's Liyun.
I did like
And he
that.
stacks rocks at her. He does stack rocks to help her remember, hey, remember who you are. And then give this note to Yumi. Because Yumi's mind gets erased every day. And Liyun comes in. Yumi's like, what a great day. Why do I feel so hollow and empty? And Liyun comes in and is like, hello, Chosen. I can't remember. The whole town is sick. Here is a letter. I am going to go now. Goodbye.
Wow. Lee
and,
Yun
and she's
seems
like,
off
what
today.
the fuck?
What's
This
this?
actually happens twice. Once before she goes to attack Painter, and once when she delivers the letter. Painter knows, because Leon said, they're going to send an army of stable nightmares after you. Because I failed to kill you, the whole town's going to get destroyed. So
It's going to be
So
just like that other town
Yumi,
that got destroyed. That is foreshadowed. He does a good job with that.
yes, I agree. This isn't the first time it happened. Another town was contacted by the spirits long ago and was completely wiped out by the stable nightmares. And people just thought it was because stable nightmares were allowed to grow out of control, but in fact, it was a calculated invasion force, Ben. It was an attack. So Yumi is like, she gets her memories back, and Painter has to go rally the gang. This is when he apologizes to those guys. He also tries to get the Dream Force on board, and the Dream Force turns out they're just a bunch of rich kids, Ben, appointed there because that guy's the son of a senator, and that guy's the Duke of whatever, and that guy's the Flufair Ben, and so that's why they got on the. They were appointed there because they're rich and who they knew. It has nothing to do with your painting skills, Ben. They have a crew with them of good painters while they sit around playing tiddlywinks and whatever.
Yeah.
So we're gonna defend this city with common painters. We're gonna call in all the favors, and his crew is like, "We accept your apology. Let's go fight some ghosts or whatever, nightmares. Let's go fight some
We
nightmares."
accept your apology. Your sister really gave us a lot of perspective.
Yeah, yeah. It turns out, think maybe we also share some of that blame. Yeah.
Also,
Anyway,
that hot lady that owns the ramen shop said you're like a god or something. So we're
yeah,
back
and then
in.
she flashed her butt at us. So let's do it. So they prepare for the nightmares. Meanwhile, Yumi is like, the town's deserted. This is really weird. And I can just run through walls. I bet that machine's nearby. And I've got a plan. Painter was right all along. I'm just going to hit it with a rock. So she finds the machine and she beats it with a rock. And the scholars are like, okay, that's not like that. That's not the real
You
machine.
proud of
That's
yourself?
just like that's the prototype. Yeah.
You proud
Yeah,
of
you
yourself?
broke my art.
Yeah, that was Bill's machine. Okay, his dad
Yeah.
gave it to him. But also, that's not the real
So
machine.
yeah, so the festival that took place in the capital city that she wanted to go see but never gets to see, what happened is that really did happen over 1.5 centuries ago. The scholars were like, "Hey, check this out. We made AI art." And they flipped on the switch, and everybody died just like what will happen with the real world and AI art, Ben.
Yeah, I know. I really liked this. And this is kind of where I was mentioning, like, having.
They typed into their AI, should I drink antifreeze? And it was like, in some cultures, antifreeze is delicious and tastes nutty. And so they did that and they died, Ben.
There's um, a thought experiment. I've referenced it before on the podcast, but what if you made an AI that was not aware, but still smart enough to do a lot of damage? And you gave it a goal that you thought was innocuous, but because it was unaware, it did tons of damage to accomplish that goal. And that's kind of what happened here. And this is where I said a little bit of knowledge of the metaphysics I think would help you understand it. Or if you're a Sanderson fan, I'm sure this comes into play from his other books, is the spirits and your own soul are not so structurally different. And when they turned on the machine, it was supposed to suck in spirits, but it turns out it also could suck in souls, because it had no intent. It just knew, take in spirit energy, stack rocks. That's
And
what I
defend
do.
yourself.
And defend yourself.
Apparently,
Why did they make it?
mechanism.
Why did they get?
Why?
If
Yes.
you,
Why did they put a defensive measure in there?
yes. No, if you ever find yourself with the opportunity to give a robot the ability to defend itself, don't. They should die.
So yeah, he absorbs all of the human souls in the capital city, and also pretty much the entire civilization, the Torio civilization, which then their recycled souls are shat out as the shroud, and they also eventually were formed into nightmares. Then all the spirits came out because of all that rock stacking. It wasn't all that impressive, but like it's the only game in town now, and he could just stack forever. So he got all the spirits, and the only humans that survived were nomads outside of the civilization, who eventually descended into painters modern day. They were his ancestors, that civilization's ancestors. And the Heon is the result, the power created by the robot that powers their entire civilization.
Yeah, it was what they were trying to create. They wanted those Hion lines, but they just didn't count on the fact that they were also made of spirit or
That was a
investiture.
miscalculation.
I got to say, the one thing that the Sanderson universe sort of suffers from, and I think this is the thing I noticed with a lot of hard magic fantasy, is all the good words are taken. So you can't use like mana or magic. It's got to be investiture, and you can't.
Or Primanti
And look,
sandwich.
I got to be real with you. Cosmere sounds like something you would get at a quirky bagel shop.
Yeah.
I hate
I
the
want
name
I want to
Cosmere.
spread some of that Cosmere.
I want a bagel with Cosmere.
Yeah, spread it on.
I really don't like that name.
So Painter fights the nightmares, and Yumi escapes from the scholars, and then she's like, "Oh, she's on a tree that floats. This happened earlier, but now it's just a nightmare tree, and it's starting to fall apart." But then she's like, "Oh, wait a minute. It responds to what I think it is." So she starts like, it's a tree. It's a solid tree. So it reforms. And oh, look at that. The wind happened to pick up. And now I'm blowing towards the capital where
I,
the machine
I
is.
think it also helps that it is established that Yumi. I think this universe uses like
She's
investiture.
super spiritually
Investiture is your
powerful.
power level, and hers is pretty high.
Hers is the highest ever. And
I don't think it's the
she's been
highest ever.
reliving the same day for the last several centuries. But even though her memory was going away, her muscle memory wasn't. So she just became the best stacker ever. And that is why one of the spirits managed to be pulled away from the machine, which never happened before. And that was the spirit that then tied he and Painter together. And it just tied Painter because Painter went after the stable nightmare instead of calling it a shift and walking away. So it had no plan other than Yumi's memory can't be wiped when she is in spiritual form. When Painter is inhabiting her body, something, something, something. Checkmate. All right, this something's got to happen.
Yeah, and so I got to
So
admit, for like most of the book up until like this whole sequence of events, I was really starting to lose it. Like I was there at the beginning. I thought the beginning was very interesting. As part 2 dragged into part 3 and part 3 into like part 4, I was like, I'm kind of sick of Yumi's world and her life and all the characters in it. I really hate everything about the world Yumi lives in. And I kind of also think everybody in Painter's world is a bunch of judgmental weirdos. And
Yeah.
I don't like this Doctor Who quirky, lol, random bullshit. But then this happened, and I gotta give him credit. It clicks into place so nice. Like,
Yeah, that's the Sanderlanche,
I
baby!
if I didn't like Cosmere, you better believe I don't like
You just got
Sanderlanche.
Sanderlanched.
Maybe I did though. Maybe I got Sanderlanched because it really did. I really do like it when it all clicked together, and it was rewarding. And I gotta say, I can't poke a lot of holes in it. I just wish it had happened a little faster, and maybe it was a little bit more of the book, because I've been hard on it up until this point, but it really is impressive how this all makes total sense. It's kind of legit creepy.
They also did telegraph at times because he talked about like the clothing that they're wearing in Yumi's world. He's like, it's kind of like old timey clothing, except like I only have black and white stills, or maybe it was the azure and magenta stills of those photos. So it's telegraphed that these are people who are like caught in time, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, all the clues are there. It makes sense that Yumi's craft develops over 150 years. It makes sense that they tried to automate it. It makes like all of this stuff, like it makes sense that they became the nightmares. That explains where the shroud came from. It it really neatly ties everything up in a
And
way.
Yumi's world exists because it couldn't get rid of the Yoko Hijo, so it just trapped him in a never-ending Groundhog Day.
Yeah. No, I really liked it. I wish it was just more of the book. I mean, I think I just needed like a, f- a few dozen less pages of rock stacking. Of specifically
Well,
well, of specifically painters' attempts to rock stack.
they form. You want me to go to the end? The
Yeah, go
Sanderlanche.
Sanderlanche me.
All right, all right. So the painters finally get attacked. They start painting. They're painting for their life, Ben. And the nightmares don't
You're
just rush
bamboo.
them.
You're bamboo.
You're bamboo. But then it's not working. It's damaging them, but as soon as their attention is elsewhere, the nightmares attack again. So what can we do? And then he's like, wait a minute. I think I know. The nightmares want to be people. And so he starts painting the people he remembers from Yumi's world, and one by one the nightmares slowly start to become the people they once were. Meanwhile, oh yeah, that's the end of it. They win the day. One person dies. Meanwhile, Yumi lands and the scholars attack her, and she's like, "No, you don't attack me. I attack you." And she starts absorbing them. And then they're like, "Oh shit. Oh god." And she's like, "Yeah, bow before me. Yeah, I'm going to go break that machine now. Fuck you, and fuck you most of all." And she goes in, and there's a barrier, Ben. She can't just go hit it with a rock. But you know what she can do? She can stack rocks. And she stacks the most amazing rock stacking art ever. And it turns out these spirits that were there for the machine rock stacking, they could leave at any time, Ben. But
No, you're
they
wrong.
need a.
You're wrong.
Okay,
I'm going to
okay.
defend him. They could
Please
not
do.
leave.
Because I was like, that would be stupid if they could just leave.
No, I think the whole thing is the spirits are essentially hypnotized by art. Like this is like much like the nightmares can't choose to not be bamboo when painter paints them as bamboo. The spirits are also beholden to the rock stacking art. And so when the machine started stacking, they couldn't break away from it until somebody
My God.
stacked better.
My God. And she did stack better, Ben. She stacked so goddamn well. It was insane. And she pulls all the spirits away, and the machine has no more power, and it falls silent. But that also means the shroud is going to dispel. And that also means that Heon is going to go away. But luckily, some of the spirits are going to stick around to be Heon.
Yeah, pretty
But
nice.
that also means that Yumi is going to disappear. And he's like, nah. And he paints a mural of her. The scene from earlier in the book that I don't even think we mentioned, but that's okay. Now you have to read the book, I guess, if you want.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
he Sanderlanches her back into existence.
I
And
don't
then
think
they
that's what that
date.
means. Yeah, then they date because
And
Hoyd,
they can never break up because it would be weird that, like,
she
I kind of
literally
brought you back from
re-embodied
the
herself for
dead.
him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
I kind of brought you back from the dead, or from the opposite point of view.
I don't think he brought her back. I think he drew her spirit with his art, and then she had enough spiritual power to reincarnate herself. That's how I understood that.
I see. Luckily, he wasn't a huge pervert because he would have been like, "I'm gonna make these much bigger," and then like,
I just understood what you were saying. That's uh so Hoyd also, I know you were curious. The reason he was a coat rack for most of this book, I forgot to mention that, but he was a coat rack in addition to being super annoying.
and there were some eggs on his head, and it was funny, and we clapped.
Yes, it was so lol random. And he was a coat rack because he landed on this planet and the shroud was like spooky and he had some spells set to uh, throw him into a statue mode if he was in danger, and so he statued. And then when the fog cleared, he was not a statue anymore and he was free to leave. And so design is like, yep, well, I'm done. Here, Painter and Yumi, you're jobless now. Take the keys and have a job. And so now they run a ramen shop slash art gallery, and presumably all of his friends who originally hated him because he promised them a job that he couldn't deliver on are now okay with him, and he put them all out of a job. You know, there's at least one
Yeah,
painter
fuck
out
you
there who's
guys.
like, no, we got to keep the nightmares around. It's steady work.
Yeah, yeah, that was my thought process.
Reopen the nightmare mines. No, they probably all learned to code. So, do you want to move into the rubric?
Let's rubric.
All right.
Yeah, and it said the Nightmare Watch kids now they're gonna have to get jobs at their mommies and daddies corporations. I'm sure they're a VP of something and they're making big bucks.
So I'm going to assume
We didn't
Brandon
win.
Sanderson hasn't always been rich, because he does seem to be quite rich, and he does seem to hire friends and family. So
Why I don't remember Mass Effect.
it was a thoughtful blog post.
All right. Blog.wordsaboutbooks.ninja/words dash about dash books dash review dash rubric / Ben.
Yes.
Content and ideas, Ben.
I'm going to go with a 5.
Wow.
I think
Wow.
I think I get why people like this guy. And I do think it is all the ideas. And I think his approach to writing is a very ideas first approach to writing. Like I don't think he super cares about how it all works on the page. I think he mostly has an idea for a story, has an idea for like a cool thing, and he wants to get as many of these cool things out as he can. So I think a 5 is good for
You
ideas.
know, I'm reading the rubric saying that it has a lasting impact on the reader, so I'm willing to give it the 5.
Yeah,
Organization, Ben. I'm gonna go with a 3.
I'm gonna go with a 3.
We already talked about pacing a little too slow.
The pacing's not great.
I I didn't dislike the main two characters, but all the support characters, nope.
I didn't I didn't dislike them, but they seem about 5 years younger than they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
In a way, I find like I did eventually get sick of reading about them, and I think that's where like the organization comes into play. Is like it lingered a little too long on their quirky romance building. I understand that's a skill he's trying to build. And again, I go back to I'm not the intended audience. His wife is the intended audience.
No. We are now the intended audience, Ben.
And so I can understand how like it totally valid to say like his wife may like this and that's why he did it. Um, can't pick on it. But it still gets a
We
3.
can and we will. Use of language. I know what you're putting, and I'm agreeing with you.
I'm at a 2.
2. There's
I
enough. Sorry, as the referee in this bout, I had to issue a warning, and then he just kept going, so I had to deduct a point.
so a 2 is language is used correctly, which it is. Word choice is simplistic or repetitive, lowly and highly. Uh, Limited vocabulary is employed relative to its intended audience. This is intended for his wife, who is an adult woman who is a decade and a half older than me. This is an eighth grade level. This is a young adult book. And that's okay. But then I start thinking like they're supposed to be 19. They're supposed to be adults. This is supposed to be a romance between two literal young adults, two new adults. Um and the highly lowly stuff, I don't like it. I don't think that I think that I'll apologize. He's lived in Korea. If he speaks fluent Korean, he has a insight into this that I don't. But I think that
Yeah, well, I'm a quarter
misunderstands.
Japanese, Ben.
That's true. Um, I don't know. I think he misunderstands kind of what highly and lowly are doing. It's like you said. It's not a curse word. It is rude or impolite, but there's nuance to it. That's he's he's both being explicit and also losing all the nuance. I don't know. He's giving you more information and somehow less. Uh, and Hoyd, fuck all of that. That was terrible. And it wasn't just terrible in the sense that like I didn't like it. It was the parentheses, the like it's all so like Hoyd's DMing me. That's the vibe I get. Like that's the way the grammar's used. He's not it's not like I'm reading a book, it's like I'm reading someone's DMs. And I don't it's very juvenile. The whole book is very juvenile in a way that I don't think is intentional.
Personal preference.
Weirdly, after all of that, I think I'd say a 4.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think I'm at a 4. I liked it. There were some elements that didn't quite work for you.
Yeah.
Hoyd, and you either flesh out the supporting cast or like let's start cutting them.
Hoyd and design, I people have been telling me he's trying to branch out into more like romance and stuff, and it's like with design, I can really tell you've never like.
She's got a fat ass.
Yeah, it's like I could tell you're an awkward flirt. Like I don't know what else to tell you. Like you don't flirt well. That's not.
Hey there, baby. You want to sit on my
It's supposed to
hair?
be funny, and it's just. It's like a child's idea of an adult talking about sex. Like I get she's supposed to be a
Hey
machine
there,
intelligence,
baby.
and this is supposed to be weird, but like she flirts in this like not even PG-13 way that's just so
I am
weird.
quirky and endearing,
I
she
find that the
says.
human female is the best form to take because everybody likes the shape of a human female. It's like
Yes.
whatever. Um, so recommendation strength. This is another one where I'm going to turn to you and say, what is genre?
I was going to say the same thing. The genre uh, is Brandon Sanderson's wife. Or sorry, that's the audience. Genre uh, is Sanderlanche a genre?
is is Sanderlanche a part of a balanced breakfast?
It
Um,
does sound.
I okay. If the genre is Brandon Sanderson fans, it's a 4. I think that could be valid because this is one of his
I've
secret
not read
project
any of his
books.
other books though,
Well, what I
so
understand is this is one
I
of his
can't.
secret project books. This is not
Yes.
like this is a book he specifically intended for his wife and then his fans. It does stand on its own, but I think he would prefer it. I think he imagined somebody who is familiar with some of these concepts when he wrote it. That being said, I am going to rate it as just a normal fantasy book, and in that case,
Oh, in that case,
I'm
three.
going to go with a 3. It's a weak recommendation to genre fans. I read a lot of fantasy books. I've read a bunch of fantasy books that came out the same year as this, and I could tell you if you know we read a book a week. I don't think most people do. If you can only read 5 to 10 books this year, I don't know if you want to read 5 to 10 fantasy books this year, I don't know if I'd make this one of them. Like it wouldn't be the recommendation you'd get from me. I don't even think now, considering the fact that Brandon Sanderson like has multiple potential entries on that list, maybe there's a Brandon Sanderson book that would even be better. Because I think if you're like the hard magic fan who really loves Sanderson, this is neat, but I don't know if it's really what you want. I think this is like if you've read a bunch of stuff and you're looking for something else to read, I would read this. That's my logic here.
Yeah, I would agree with that. So that puts us at 63 points apiece.
Which I think is firmly in the realm of 3 stars.
Agreed.
Well,
All right.
that time has arrived. And
I log off.
because I'm editing it, I'm going to do the Patreon shout out. I'm going to
All
thank.
right. Well, my wife needs to print something, so I will probably just ignore you from now on and let her do that.
I'm going to thank John Bierce, Rockstacker in Chief, actual author of The Mage Errant the Rack and More Gods Than Stars. I'm going to thank Jamie, the Gravy Man of the If You Want the Gravy blog. I'm going to thank Spooky Shash, with a Y over on TikTok. I'm going to thank Isekai Sensei Sama of the That Time I Got Reincarnated as an anime podcast in the same world as an anime podcast. Damn it. I got close. I did my best. And with that, I will log off.